Yeah, you know, it's absolutely heart-wrenching, and now that I think about this, Cody, and looking at what we see right there on the scene, is that the reason why you're going to have other law enforcement agencies to assist the Cobb County Sheriff's Department is because they're going to allow the Cobb County Sheriff's deputies to be able to go to the hospital, be able to grieve together, and these other officers usually show up to maybe answer call to call within that region, whatever assistance they can give while those officers deal with such a tragic situation. Cody, I was going to ask you real quickly here, as far as those two officers, were they part of the SWAT team, or were they just two deputies who were trying to serve warrants in their regular uniforms and gear?
Ron, I cannot answer that. What I can tell you is that all Cobb County has confirmed is that they were going to serve a search warrant or serve a warrant of some sort. I know you're an experienced law enforcement officer. I've covered many of these. I've ridden along with law enforcement when they do serve warrants. You know, sometimes they do have a SWAT team if it is a suspect who they believe could be armed, they have a criminal past with law enforcement, or could be a danger to them or themselves. So there could have been a SWAT team here, but there's other instances that it could just be something like a direct patrol unit or just their warrant team going out to serve a warrant. As we know, there are warrants backed up for weeks and months and years. These officers try to serve these warrants when they get any intelligence that they might have a suspect at a certain home or business or location. So you never know how these things carry out. They could come with just a few deputies as backup, or they could bring an entire SWAT team. We do not know that at this point, but we do know at some point tonight, things definitely went south as they were trying to serve this warrant, and shots rang out. Now, the woman who tipped us off, again, one of those deputies was being worked on right in her front yard. And she told me that right now there are 3 SWAT trucks now on scene. Now, she did not tell me in those initial tips that there was any SWAT units on. She just told me SWAT is showing up, and then she texted me a couple more times, said more SWAT vehicles are here. But I can tell you, we have moved up to the roundabout on the John Ward Parkway a little bit further than we were earlier when we were live on the air. And I guarantee you there's 100+ law enforcement vehicles here, from unmarked to Cobb County Police, Fulton County, but there are agencies from all over the state here. And as you guys have seen too on social media, we had the GBI and many agencies across the state and throughout the Southeast region sending their condolences now via Twitter, Facebook, Instagram to the Cobb County Sheriff's Office.
And that's something we will certainly continue to see as these days go forward. Cody, don't go anywhere. You mentioned the GBI. We do want to say that the GBI has said that they have been asked to assist in this investigation. And we're also hearing just a little bit more information from the Cobb County Sheriff's Office. They're saying this remains an active incident, and that goes to the information that they initially gave us, that the SWAT and FAST teams were responding. So we know that this is an ongoing situation, and we also know, as we wait for new information from the Cobb County Sheriff's Office, that giving us these details are probably their least priority right now. They're probably very concerned about their officers, about that unfolding situation, and the families of those officers who have been killed in the line of duty today. We don't know much or anything about them other than the fact that they are Cobb County Sheriff's deputies. We don't know their gender, how long they've been serving with this unit or others, but that information will certainly come in the future. Absolutely.
And so right now their priority, and Cody, you know this because you're right there on the scene, is to make sure that they can lock down that house, the house where the SWAT team members are focused on, to make sure it can be resolved quietly, make sure it can be resolved peacefully. And but if you're bringing in 3 different SWAT team vehicles, that means that they're really concerned about the danger that's on the other side of that wall, especially if you have the nerve to be able to kill 2 police officers, 2 deputies, sheriff's deputies, and remain inside possibly locked and loaded behind those doors. So you can see why there's such a heavy police presence there, and why there are probably 3 SWAT team members or SWAT team trucks to make sure they can resolve this thing as quickly as possible.